I sat across from my best friend of 12 years and realized that for the last 20 minutes, he hadn't looked me in the eye a single time while he told me why he couldn't come to my wedding. I stood in the middle of the crowded park where we had agreed to meet, feeling a cold, hollow sensation in my stomach as Mark stared at his shoes and mumbled about a work commitment that he hadn't mentioned until today. This was the man who was supposed to be my best man. The person I had traveled across the country with and shared every major milestone with since we were teenagers. I felt a deep sense of betrayal as I realized he wasn't just busy. He was lying to me about the real reason he was backing out. Mark had always been the more successful one in our group, a high-powered attorney who lived in a penthouse and drove a car that cost more than my house. My fiancée Sarah had never really liked him, telling me that she felt he looked down on our modest life, but I had always defended him as just being focused on his career. But as he sat there on the bench, refusing to even glance at my face, I realized that Sarah was right. He wasn't missing the wedding for work. He was missing it because he had been offered a trip to the south of France by a group of his wealthy colleagues on the same weekend. He had chosen a luxury vacation over his oldest friendship, and he didn't even have the courage to tell me the truth. I know about the trip to France, Mark, so you can stop talking about the depositions and the deadlines, I said, my voice sounding flat and tired in the open air. He finally looked up at me, his face turning a guilty, splotchy red, and he started to say something about how it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for his career. He actually told me that I should be happy for him and that we could just celebrate another time when he got back. I felt a surge of adrenaline that made my fingers clench, a realization that our friendship was nothing more than a footnote in his quest for status. I wasn't just hurt. I was done being the person who made all the effort to keep our bond alive. I told him that a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity doesn't compare to a once-in-a-lifetime commitment to a friend, and that if he left for France, he didn't need to bother coming back to my life at all. He tried to laugh it off, telling me that I was being dramatic and that he would make it up to me with an expensive gift. I didn't want a gift, I wanted a friend who showed up when it mattered. I stood up and walked away from the bench, leaving him sitting there with his excuses and his guilt. I didn't look back to see if he was following me, because I already knew that he wouldn't. He had already made his choice, and now I was making mine. The wedding went on without him, and it was the most beautiful day of my life, surrounded by people who actually wanted to be there to support us. My brother stepped in as the best man, and his speech was so much more heartfelt and honest than anything Mark would have ever said. I realized that by letting go of a friendship that had become one-sided, I had made room for the people who truly valued me. Mark tried to send me a text on the day of the wedding from a yacht in the Mediterranean, but I had already blocked his number and deleted him from my social media. I didn't need a postcard from his ego. I learned that some friendships have an expiration date, and that it's okay to walk away when the other person stops seeing your worth. I have a small group of friends now who are consistent and loyal, and we don't need expensive trips or high-status careers to prove our bond. I'm much happier now that I don't have to worry about who is going to let me down next, and I've learned to value the people who look